Hi. Hello, welcome to my tube. My tiny little tube. I always lose like freaking gaggles of people on the when I do my talks on the every month. It's every month, you know? And other people would see that trend and just not do talks during those days. I prefer to be consistent, you know. Take the good and leave the rest, you know. And if people see the rest and then let them go, you know. Just whatever. Ah. I was listening to. I was having a chill morning. We like slept in. It's real wild here. The energy's wild here, and so I started with like Bible study, listening to part of Frank Ramenbeck Jr. Excuse me, over at his tube. He does Bible study, so I was listening to him talk about Psalms 91:11 through 16. That was his talk today. It's funny because recent introduction with the pigeons, and where I come from, pigeons is how people pass the message. They pass a message, from one spirit having a human connection or having a human experience connecting to another spirit, And then I listened to that for a while. Then I popped over to some talks by I've heard of this guy for years and years, and I mean when I was a little girl the Manson killings happened and all that stuff, and I was listening to this guy John the tapes of John Todd, his personal accounts and stuff like that, and I was just like, this stuff is always gone on. They just make movies and stuff about it, and then go around and saying that doesn't happen. It's in the movies, and that ain't a defense. It's in the movies, or that don't happen ain't a defense. And the thing of it is there's this whole freaking good versus or light versus shadow narrative that's just been always going on, and us at the bottom are just don't even know we're playing in this game, And some of us are aware of it, more than others. But, I've been involved in it, and then I'm still getting, freaking blown away by this stuff, And I always looked at, I've always watched crime shows and stuff like that. So I've always been looking to see what people what they really are, because there's people that represent themselves in a certain kind of way, but they act entirely different, They're freaking straight up evil. There's a lot of evil in the world, so much, and this guy, I was listening to this guy's talks, right, and then he would say a name or something, and then in another tab I would look up the name, and I was just like, okay, that's verifiably true, this guy did come and get, he talks about a story, and he named this guy, and I looked him up, and oh my goodness, it's like, and then one I listened to this morning, I was like, holy heck, because they were talking about Salem and the burning witch trials and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my goodness. He was like, oh no, they weren't burning witches. It was the witches that were burning Christian women. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense then. That makes much more sense than anything I ever heard in any freaking history book. Wow, that one, whoo, I had to take a minute with that one. And then a part of my talk yesterday, I like to share the story about, the human trafficking aspect and things like that that's been a part of my life personally, and that's impacted my life personally. And without getting too much into that, I was reminded about how I don't want to listen to this song right now. And the angels sang, it's a good song, I just don't want to hear it right now. Under the influence. What was I talking about? My train of thought just derailed. Let's see if I can get it back. So I watched a lot of those shows with Criminal Minds and stuff like that. In and a lot of this time, a lot of TV when I say watch TV, that means I have it on in the background and I'm like looking at stuff on my computer. That's how it's all, or when I was a kid, I'd watched it because I didn't have computers, but now it's just multitask, just extra data sensory input for me. And so I watched like Criminal Minds and stuff like that. And I remember watching an episode, and I lived in Omaha at the time, and they did a story, and it was like, I'm like, this is what's going on in Omaha right now. It was during the time where the people kept getting pissed off at their kids, and they would drop them off at the hospitals, the Safe Haven Act or whatever, So people are like dropping their 17. And one of the places they drop them off is at the hospital that I worked at. So, and then Criminal Minds did a story about it, and or loosely based on it. They're always loosely based on it, And then the serial kid was the serial, or one of this. It was about a kid that was a serial killer, and like 15, 16, like young kid, and then when I listened to old boys talk this morning, John Todd's talk this morning, he made mention about a show that was based on his family's High Violet Moon. He was based on his family's diaries, and it's a TV show that was called Dark Shadows. And like we have, or I don't know if there's really new show. I did see The Walking Dead is premiering soon, and all I can think of when all of these show, it's like, how did you get around all of this to do your stuff? How did you get signed off? Because already somebody has to sign. Because like I talked to a kid at a gas station here, and they keep having to state at their gas station because somebody keeps turning them in for like not wearing a mask or for stupid bullshit. That's the thing, is the state is, they're just like little bulldog. And I'm so like, how did these guys, and like next month, ABC shows, I'm like, how did you guys get to do production? How did you guys get to do all the action shots and touch everybody and fight and all that stuff when everybody else is locked away? How come you so special, Norman Reedus? I used to love The Walking Dead. And then I started looking around. I'm like, dude, this is kind of how the world is going. So I don't really need to waste my time watching it anymore because people are living it. So I went down a little ant hole briefly about the Dark Shadow list of Dark Shadows episodes. Now these are based on a diary of a family that, this, if you listen to this guy's story, he's been into the Luciferian, he like differentiate. There needs to be a Gantt chart. There needs to be like a Gantt chart, because evidently witches don't believe in Satan, and then the Masonics have their own stuff, and then it's like they all have their own stuff, but it's like they all perpetuate harming people and freaking dark shit and, sex and drugs, rock and roll, all the egoic earthly stuff. And then there's one God. And I tell you what, it's straightening my act up in a very big way. It's straightening my act up and I'm starting to look at systems and things that I've integrated into my life in a very different way. And, that's what evolution is. That's what all of us going from carbon-based, way down carbon-based, DNA. Everybody's ramping up. So everybody's raising to crystalline bias. I look at crystalline, I think of it as in line with Christ. Christ in line. Online, coming online with Jesus Christ consciousness. Bing! I get what you're saying, JC. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Message received. There's all these tools and things, ways to... I'm like starting to, I like to meditate, but there's still... There's people that use meditation that because you get hijacked by stuff you don't want, So that's the thing. I don't like when people call me a know-it-all. People have called me a know-it-all, and I'm just like, oh... all the stuff that I don't know. How dare you? You know? But then I remember, oh, they're just telling me that they think they know everything. So, duly noted. You know everything, I don't. Because I'm just a spirit having a human experience, checking stuff out. And I'm finding out there's just, I am quickly becoming adamantly obedient to God. So, and just, you know, I think that's a perfect segue to invite God into the talk. I like to do that as of late, you know. Everybody's coming into the people that I'm in line with are all about God, 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 God right now. And it's on this morning I saw two separate people aside from Frank, because Frank does his Bible studies, and then I saw two other talks that were Sunday sermon early. Steve Judd astrology. So people they're changing the terminologies. And I don't know, maybe it has something to do with old boy saying miracles from heaven are happening. You know? Because miracles are happening, man. People's hearts are being touched by God and they're opening up. And it's freaking beautiful, man. Some people are freaked out about it. I used to be afraid of affection and love and all that stuff. There's a been on my co-host today. I've been no. So Marge does a been arresting and don't arrest must with a been in Margie. Don't bother being Marge. That's a good old boy. Been a good dog. But a good dog, Beanie. I love it so much, Beanie. Imagine dragons next to me. I will always let you down. I will always let people down because evidently people have expectations of me. And then if I say something that's curt or wicked or spiteful or something, they're like, ah. And I'm like, dude, this is what I fight against every day. It's the fact that I'm not like that 100% of the time. That should be a testimony to God right there, you know. Because, gosh, man. It's alright? So I took some notes. I was thinking last night, because every now and again I used to watch Ben Davidson on Space Weather News, Space Observers more often, but it's a lot of the same thing. And when I listen to stuff that's just like, you know, oh, that sucks. Oh, that sucks. Pole's gonna flip. Oh, that sucks. Oh, this, you know. Oh, the Luciferi tale has gotten bigger than God. That sucks. You know, all this stuff that sucks, right? And I'm like, well, the more people think about something happen, it happens. It's just how the power of thought, intention works. You okay? It's okay. You're so handsome. Oh, don't get kicky. It's okay. We got Tucker up there. Tucker's up against the wall. Tucker's little face is over there. Tuck. He snores. I think he has a deviated septum. I think I have one. I'm one of them mouth breathers, man. I have a hard time breathing through my nose. It used to serve me well when I was a swimmer, because I could just hold my breath. When I was like 13 years old, I could swim the length of 75 yards, the length of I think that's Olympic-sized pool, underwater. I'd panic for like the last 5-7 feet. I'd be like, you know, completely exhaled and just out of air, you know, but I did it. I only did it a couple times because it scared me so bad. I'm like, alright, I'm just good with I can do it. I did it once. I did it 2 times actually. But I don't like doing that so much anymore. Take it easy. Take it easy. Artie's over there too. You get hot, huh? It's okay. It's alright. Take it easy. Artie's gonna go to sidecar. Artie's gonna go on the sidecar. Because we're only on a twin bed, man. 3 dogs. I have the twin, but then on the side over here, there's like four dog beds all piled up. So, good boy. And then there's one up here that already. You okay? Did you get too hot? You get too hot. You just goofball. Good boy, Benny. You okay? Yeah? Alright. They do always do the same thing because they have their spots in the morning and then they rotate. But usually I'm not doing a video when they do this. So I was thinking, with all this pole flipping stuff that people have been talking about, and I'm like, well, we're all polarity, negative and positive. And then I was like, holy heck, what if our poles are going from negative to positive? Huh? Maybe that's it. Maybe people are going from more of an ego-based heart space to a spiritual heart space, you know? So maybe there are storylines that could support this too. That if we become more balanced, you know, and just become 51% more spirit than ego, then we can calm the energetic field of the whole planet and put off that freaking the flip. You know? We could, you know, maybe. Who knows? There's no way to ever freaking verify anything to be 100% true or false because there's always polarity. Because some people look at, you know, like a 6 and they see a 6. But from people that from a higher perspective, they see a 9. So not everybody is having the same earthly experience, you know. Huh, Benno? That's true, Margie. Not everyone is. So I was like, that's why I wrote this note down last night. What if the pole flip was more about negative going to positive? And if we can get past hate. See, that's the hard part. Justifiable anger. People have a lot of reason to be pissed at people and hate people. But that hate is going to keep us down and keep the, you know, it's going to keep the people on the 3D Earth. And the 5D Earth, we're already here, man. There's a lot of us in 5D already. We've been living here. We've been waiting for everybody else to show up, man. Waiting for you guys to raise your vibrational frequency and freaking drop the wreckage of your past and stop freaking living in spite and anger and hate. And I've been doing it too. And every time I do that, sucks me right down back to the 3D Earth. And then I got to freaking, you know, fast. I fast all the time. I always have problems with food. Ever since I was a girl, I just, it doesn't sound good. Or something sounds really good, but I don't want to get it. You know? It's just, I like juice a lot and freaking, you know, but there was so much stuff that I couldn't eat when I was a kid. Because of sensitivities. I was hypoglycemic. I was diagnosed when I was like 5, 6 years old. Ain't that a downer for a kid? Getting freaking vials of blood sucked down off them for, you know, 6 hours during the course of the day, so they can crash you on purpose. You know, it's just hard, you know. And and then I was allergic to milk. Okay, so they took out sugar, and so we'd have to freaking, our cereal, everybody talks about their cereal, you know, the Sunday morning cereal, watching cartoons or what. I'm like, whatever, dude, our cereal was like freaking apple juice and grape nuts, you know, and there's all this so anyway, but my body liked it, but I loved cottage cheese. Newton's cottage cheese was my favorite thing. I don't even know if they make it anymore. They don't sell it in Oregon. I think maybe it's just in California, Matt. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's gone. There's a lot of stuff going away because people got, you know, because things go away. Nothing lasts forever, and people live an existence like everything lasts forever, and because they're living their Lucy fairy tale. Man, it is wicked, man. Good and evil is very, very prevalent, and the powers that these things have are just like, wow, man. Holy heck. It is so wild. And people are just like, that doesn't happen, that doesn't happen, that doesn't happen. And I'm just like, oh, they're involved. That's the only explanation that I can come up with. Because, I mean, look at all this stuff in the world that happens, but people just ignore it, so it really doesn't become their reality, like the possibility of that being real. It's just, really? Yet so many, like in the United States, we freaking start off in the world believing a freaking dude flies around in a cart driven by a reindeer and drops off presents every year. It's all false flags. So I'm gonna spend today doing Bible study with Frank and other, and when I listen to these other like storylines with this guy, it's verification, man. It's verification of stuff that people like Jesse's a boater and stuff they're reporting on today. The stuff that it's always happened. A bunch of us just got gaslit. Even the ones that it happened to. Even the ones, I had somebody say that to me last week. I told an account of something that happened when I was a young girl, like 12, 13. Old enough to remember, But still, they're like, that never happened. I'm like, okay, it never happened. The reality of that existence is over because you said so. Brr, 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 brr. So, some of the other things that I was thinking about that ring true from Homeboy's talk this morning. John taught. I listened to his tape 6 testimony, and then I listened to this excellent. It's on Marco. KOKKONIEMI. Oh, but what I was talking about with the Dark Shadow, he said that his family, this TV show was based on a diary from his family. And when these new shows come up, there's like 20 shows in an episode, or 20 episodes in a season, kind of thing, here in the UK, or here in the USA. In the UK, they have series, like I used to watch Sherlock, and they had series, but there are only like so many shows in a series. So series are seasons. Series are seasons. And they have only so many episodes. And I used to watch the It Crowd too, because I'm in IT and that show is funny as fuck. But all this stuff is just taking me away from time that I should have been spending with God. But I still learn stuff from it anyway, so I don't feel too bad about it. We're always right where we're supposed to be. We always are. But they were talking about how they get people to fall into this stuff. By making them feel like they're a part of, and but then they start asking people to do stuff. And the stuff that they asked them to do, I was just like, no, I could never do that stuff. He goes on and he goes through the storylines. It's really quite compelling. I mean, he talks about how, look what even Star Wars is trying to make incest cool. At one point, they did. I mean, they were brother and sister kissing, So it's just, and then they're talking about an actor that was in Star Wars that was later and then he was talking about how all the actors that were in Star Wars had to do gay things to get the part and stuff like that. And it's just like, well, the guy that made Star Wars, he's prominent in freaking Northern California, and that's where Bohemian Grove is, and it's all about power and control. It's power and control. It's not about the evil deed that they're doing. It's that they got you to do something against your will that you didn't want to do, so that they can feed their love for the grossness that they believe in, and it's not God. I assure you, it is not God. So, and it's so hard to see who is really for God, because look at all the people that have been talking like they've been God for ever and ever and ever and ever, but the thing is energy doesn't lie. People do. So you know when somebody's saying, the vibration of a truth, and vibration of lies. So I've gone to a lot of church and then left because I'm like, this is horseshit what this guy's saying, So people know what's true and what's false. Sometimes they just listen to other people and go, no, because we're easily swayed, because we want to please people and be a part of and be in a group and, you know, be cared for and stuff like that. Sometimes people, you know, entice you with drawing you in under those pretenses, those false pretenses, and then you're some kind of freaking cult ritual thing, you know. And it ain't nothing to these people, because it's you know, stop saying it's a new norm, because everybody has a different definition of norms. People are really gonna have a hard time with all the stuff coming out. It ain't gonna be easy for people to realize how things really are. That all the governments and the TV shows and stuff like that, it's just all to get people to think a certain kind of way. And you have the light bringers, you know, the light bringers in there too. You know, ain't nothing. Nobody is all good, and nobody is. I don't think people are all good and all evil. I think that there's still goodness in some people. I just think it's so buried by hurt and betrayal. I mean, all angels. I was listening to that chick Tamp, that she's been busting out PD Combs and all the seedy side of the nastiness, and like that, all that shit lines up too, you know. And she was talking about how you know, the video games for. I mean, I remember watching people play that. Last only video game I ever really played was Super Mario 3. I never liked that shoot 'em up stuff like that, you know, because I saw so much violence and stuff when I was a little girl. I never like putting it in my face, and so people had all these video, you know, and like that Grand Theft Auto and stuff. I even bought that for a couple one time because they liked playing it, and then I watched them play it, and I was just like, this is horrible. You know, and all the extra points you get for causing. I'm like, there's no spirit in that, you know. And she was going on about. I don't even think that was the particular story that I wanted to tell. Yeah, I don't think that was the story. I was listening to her. And then she brought me some knowing about, like she connected a dot with it was the video games. Breaking down morals. And that's what they've been doing, breaking down morals. Then I started looking at the other people. I'm like, well, they've been breaking down morals, you know, for a long time. And they did that with, I'd been going down, because what's her name just died, Helen Reddy. And I was like, I was trying to sit where she sits on this, because she was freaking, dude, they took out, when she was a little girl, they took one of her kidneys and one of her adrenal glands. And her family was in vaudeville and stuff like that, you know. I still didn't finish. And so to wrap up that Dark Shadows list of episodes, I started it 3 times. They had over 1,200 episodes of that, and it was only on for 6 seasons. It's like 1,245 episodes. I mean, it's like everybody. I mean, the veil gets thin for all kinds of reasons in October anyway. Hang on to your pets and your kids, and keep your loved ones close this month. Don't let them out of your sight. If they're going to the store, hey, make it a family trip. You know what I mean? Especially when you live in these freaking hot spots, because these freaking sadistic, twisted, freaking soulless people are desperate right now. They are so desperate to get their fixes because everything's shut down, and people aren't doing their stuff, you know. So they can't praise their they can't praise their entities and stuff like that. And I really need to seriously evaluate some of the practices and disciplines that I've been doing in my life too. You know, it's all, okay, that doesn't work, that works, that doesn't work, that doesn't, you know, it's because we're all dropping away stuff that don't work no more for us. It's just, whew, so weird, man. Yeah, that was when I stopped watching, when they killed Glenn. I was just like, no, nope. And you know what's an interesting, here's a funny story. The episode that the black dude died, I want to say Tyrone. I want to say that he was like one of the first ones, and he died in the house, and it was just like, how did he die? I mean, it's just anyway. That was done in a woman I know from Omaha, in her sister's house. That they filmed that in her house down in I want to say Louisiana. It was like their family's rental house or something like that, and they filmed it in there. Yeah. So that, but after they did that to, I was just like, I don't even want to watch. And I watched it a little bit after that, and then everybody else started leaving. So I'm just like, there's something going on there, and I just bailed. But that guy goes really into it too. It's just like, there's so much. It's all God and self-will. It's all the will of God or anything else that serves the will for evil entities, Luciferi, you know. People just give themselves up to feed bigger energies to certain and I guess Christians, I guess I do that. I don't give myself up though. I would give myself up if I did what everybody else told me to do to get the things that they have. I lived in, you know, I had the big house and the freaking, you know, cutest house on the block, and I had a job, and I didn't make a lot of money because I just people never paid me what I thought I was worth, ever. Okay, that's good enough. I mean, I can live off anything, you know. But when I go to negotiate, they just always say no. So I'm just like, whatever. So I really got comfort. You know, I don't have to get mad about, you know, I don't need to live on as much as everybody else. The means that people need to live on, it is just so weird. It's so weird what people need in their lives. So I guess they can look around and say, well, people think I have it all put together because I have all this stuff, you know. And how many people don't live within their means? Look at all the rich bureaucrats that freaking that have all this money. They have, and they don't got shit to show for it. They don't have nothing, you know. They're gonna meet their maker with a really big bank balance, and they got nobody to leave it to, or nothing, you know. And that's a hard pill to swallow, I think. People really shift and change their hearts as they get older, you know. A lot of people have done just nefarious things their whole life, just gross things, and then they get to this place where they're like, oh my gosh, what goes around comes around, and everything I've done is going to come back to me. People have that realization. Lucky for me, I had that realization when I was a young girl. You don't hurt people. You don't hit people. You don't put your hands on people. You definitely don't freaking do people and animals and freaking cut them up and drink their and all that stuff. Pass their blood around like the 7 tradition basket just to serve a freaking evil dark entity to do their freaking nasty bidding. And it's just the seedy side, you know. And I look at and when I listen to Jesse's talk, and I'm like, oh, okay. So all these people, they're perpetuating the, you know, the sex, because there's so many different gods. So you have like the Gadgoos and the Beyoncés and the what was her name? Madonna. I mean, she started from the Virgin and then went to the freaking, you know. I mean, and she don't even she don't look right. She don't look right. She don't got no spirit left in her. Heck, I don't even think she got her left eye left in her. You know, uh, but the playing field is being leveled because more people are coming out and they're like, these are their symbols. This is what, you know, when they do the circle around their eye and they do these symbols and these symbols, they're telling you where they're having their meetings, and it's all about the hand gestures. I've been watching people's handshakes since I was a little girl because I remember going to like a thing at the Masonic. A girl I knew in high school, her family was in the Masonics, and she was a rainbow girl. And I went and I was like, "Do you have to?" And they're like, "You have to wear a dress." And so they put a skirt on me, and I went and I'm like, I don't want to do this because I didn't want to do anything where I had to wear a dress. I didn't like it, you know. Uh, anyway, thank goodness I mean they try to confuse people with their sexuality by freaking, you know, by making them, you know, with sexual abuse younger. I'm not, you know, and it's like it's all just this. We're all puppets. We're all puppets on this string, and then some of us, if we're lucky, we wake up to this realization that it's just like, oh my God, we're all puppets. I can't, you know, I gotta live for God. I gotta live for God. Live for God. You know, I'm like praying all over. I'm praying all the time now. I'm just like, you know, just having conversations with God. You know, God, not it's God. Good orderly direction. Do the right thing. Don't harm people. You know, God in the Bible. But and then people, that can be confusing too because it's like, which Bible? Because you have these people who say this Bible is the one that you go by. And, oh no, this one isn't the one, and it's always their Bible, and it's just like, again, take the good and leave the rest. That's why I like that movie PK. I'm not gonna ever latch on to, you know, except for my love for God. But ain't nothing is no 100%. Nothing. Nothing is. Nothing is 100%. We can't verify anything to be 100% true. You know, it's just all what comes across in our path. Now, I've always believed, I'm a fatist, and I've always believed in like synchronicity. Well, that's the divine will of God. And like when I was, all the books, I used to read a lot more when I was younger. I don't like reading now, but all this, you know, the stuff that came in front of my eyes, you know, I'd pick it up, you know, books, because we'd go to the library. When we were younger, we went to libraries and stuff like that, and so, you know, I learned how to, you know, look at all the. There's a lot of systems in the libraries that are fun. I used to go freaking help the librarians put the books back on the shelves and stuff because I like the Dewey Decimal System and stuff like that, and I just like numbers, and just always had a mind for that. And then you have the microfiche you can go through, and you know, all that stuff just has gone away, you know. And then they have wars, and then stuff gets blown up, and fires happen, and then all that history gets wiped out, you know. And then something happens, and a catastrophe happens, whether it's, you know, us made, man made, God made, whatever, and then history's wiped out, and then we're like, okay, then you have the people that want you to create the storylines to get you to think a way, and so they tell you how history is, you know, and tell you that the Salem witch trials, that they were burning witches, and it was the witches that were burning Christians. And that makes more sense to me. It makes a lot more sense to me. You know? They do think that that's exactly right. That they think that it's they're plugging fields, they're plugging holes, you know. And I feel that, and I did it all. And I was never promiscuous. I was never like, of course when I was drinking, I would aspire more to be, but it just never worked out, you know. I just was never one of those that energetically, because I always looked at that as like sacred kind of thing, and but drugs, alcohol, All that stuff, man. I let my spirit go for years and years and years. And then I'd hang out with people that did theirs too. And people want you to be like them, man. People want you to be like them. When they're miserable, they want you to be like them. When they're happy, they want you to be like them. It's hard to find truly authentic, happy people, especially in the day and age today. This day and age really is. So, I don't know. Excuse me. God, I just want to sleep all day. I'm going to listen to some Bible study, and then I'll be back later on this afternoon. There are things I was going to say, and evidently it ain't in divine time because it's not sticking in my head right now. But it's just really interesting. Oh, I was talking about what's her name? Helen Reddy, and how, like, she was the storyline that was proposed that she was, because for feminism, they got to go to work, so then the dudes had there's extra people paying taxes, and then take the mom out of the household, take the mom out of the home, that's the heart, the connection. You break that connection, and then people start, it starts breaking down. We gotta get, and that's what it's good that all this stuff a lot of this stuff is happening. Is that a lot of families together, but still, the economic strife is what's really gonna come on. But from every bad situation, there's good situations, because people are gonna have no choice but to come back into community. They have no choice, man. There's no choice. There's people displaced all over, and it's about to be winter, man. It's starting to get cold outside, So, I mean, at least freaking... It's just... But, there's no urgency. There's just not much urgency, because, the people that have the power to change it, there's no urgency for them, because, they go around the bureaucrats, where, they're all millionaires. They all freaking wear... multi-$1,000 suits, and there's no urgency, because they're disconnected. They don't know that the people in the street, that one day they're going to be reincarnated, and they're going to be one of those people in the street, and they're going to have to feel the opposite side of everything that they put out, until people start just de-dicking and living for everybody. This whole hierarchical system just needs to just go away. It just we're supposed to self-govern and just not harm people and hurt people. And there's just systems that are made just to get people that are harming people and hurt people, but say don't harm people and hurt people. 800,000 kids a year, man. That's a million. And you're still trying to tell me that there's 342 million people in this? No, but they still have all the systems and pay all the money towards it, so they can use it for their nefarious ways. And all the drug smuggling and stuff like that, That's why he's shutting down the borders and stuff. It's just for all the evildoers, man. All the people that are selling kids, passing kids around, animals, trophy hunters. It's all the same nasty. You don't get to ruin people's lives because you have money and you feel like it, and because of who you are. It's all this power play. It's always been this way. It's just a lot more people have profited from, being part of the ugly system, and they don't want to look at their behavior and see how, your behavior and how my behaviors have perpetuated this. I have to look at that, and you know what I do is every day I try to live ways that are different than the ways that I did when I perpetuated the Lucy fairy tale by not living my life for God. It's not that I was living my life for Lucifer. I've always been a God person. I ain't a devil. I'm not all ego. I'm not any of that. I try not to be, because I have, and it's gross, and I don't like it. It don't feel good. Hi, Carrie. It don't feel good. It ain't the way to heaven. It ain't the way to heaven. I bet it's an interesting place. See, and I'm in Salem, Oregon. And if you look at it, if I remember right, because I think I went down this anthole a long time ago, because they're very uncreative. That's why they all keep using spells and books from days of old. Salem, Mass, Lat, and Long. Yep, 42. 40, it's on the 42nd parallel. And I am on the 45th parallel. It doesn't fit. 42. Wait, 42.5. I don't like how I can't put my cursor. I don't like technology. Salem, Oregon. Latitude and longitude. 44.9. It falls within the plus or minus, well, no, 2.5 to be literal, accurate. I mean literal, but I'm gonna call it close enough that they, and it's all on the parallel. So when they do these seances, it freaking lights up the freaking earth grid, and they summons their freaking evil deities and stuff like that, and open portals, and there's a lot of advantage. There's a lot of, but God, for every good stuff they get, it's just not the right team. People are playing for the wrong team. God. They're playing for the wrong team. And then all these churches, man, isn't that a trip? All these churches that the Pope is a Luciferian. It is weird running around in his little red shoes. But you know what? That one, I wasn't surprised about that one so much, because do you ever see that show on A&E? It's pretty dark. I'm Scorpio Moon, so I don't deny the narc. I just study it to make sure that it stays over there. And what was I talking about? What show was I just talking about? My train of thought derailed. I don't even remember. It's like I wasn't even saying it. You lived in Salem, Mass once? I would like to visit. Maybe. Just to see if I could see if it's still playing out to now. But it's playing out here in Oregon. It's everywhere in Oregon. Oh my gosh, it's everywhere in Oregon. It is so everywhere in Oregon. I don't want to live in here anymore. Alright, it's so everywhere in Oregon. Like all the politicians and stuff. It's all bloodlines, and it's all who you're related to. See, and that's his thing. Is Halloween is the freaking, and it's weird. May Day is like the biggest, is the, like, I don't know, one of their favorite ones. And May Day is big in the Midwest. Oh, it's everywhere! Oh my gosh! It's so all over the place. And then it's like, then you go to places where you think that you're going to find God, and it's like, nope, there's Lucy Fairy Tale right there too. It's like, what do you do? Well, see, and then I like astrology. I don't believe in, there are days that I would not have operations if there were placements in my charts that said, don't do it on this day. Don't, so I do go by that. However, but there's like days that you don't like flying a plane and stuff like that, but most days I'm not going to fly a plane. There's days you don't travel in a car. I usually stay home. Now, if there's long road trips and stuff like that, I would do that, but I also don't let it dictate my life. Like, if I had to go somewhere, or if, actually, I just totally contradicted myself, because if there were days that said that, but if an emergency, if there are days that said don't have a medical operation on this day, but something happened and I need to address it, I would put my faith into my God, my higher power, over the astrology of that day. That feels right to me. You know, and the thing is, I just try to stay healthy. I try to stay healthy. I had my appendix out when I was in high school, you know, and that's when I learned about phantom pains. I've always just been kind of studying the body and the mind and the spirit, and seeing how it's starting to play. I mean, when your spirit isn't clean, when your spirit ain't right, it comes out in people's bodies. They feel bad. You know, even if it starts out good, you know, you got the, like, I don't know, man. You can just tell when people are not in a spiritual fitness and condition. I mean, they're all synthetic. They're like plastic people, and they might like be happy, and you know, I mean, the way that like I just keep thinking of The Rock. It's just I know. You just gotta take the good, leave the rest. That's all. And the more I start learning about the Bible, I'm sure more recognitions I'll start getting of tells and tales of things of how, you know, how to pick out who's for your highest good. It's easy to pick, man. Does somebody want you to be in a bad mood all the time? Is somebody draining you? Is somebody sucking your life force energy out of you? You know, it just starts there. My whole life. People have just, Marge, don't act like this, don't do this, do this, that, and just have always and I've always been very obstinate and contrary, and if you tell me not to act one kind of way, I'm probably going to act that way, and I'll probably turn it up a few notches, because we're all free spirits, and nobody has the right to tell people what to do and what not to do and all that stuff like that. Carrie, where's Seattle is about 4 hours from me. We could have hung out. Drove up. I couldn't have driven up to Seattle as far, but I don't know where Everett is. Is that where Everett, Washington? Where's Everett? Everett, Washington. Oh, it's on the coast. No, it's not on the coast, it's inland. That, I think, is where I drove. Is it about 30 miles north of Seattle? I think that's where I drove to Everett. I think that's where I drove with the lady that rents this house from Redding. We made that drive from Redding and back in like less than 12 hours. It was like a hell drive. Or less than 24, not 12. Less than 24. Up there. So I've been up there. It's cold. So cold. So cold. So cold. That was when I was 15. So we've been in the same place, just not the same time, Carrie Roach. I don't know if I'll be here in a couple months. So I think I'll go back to some researching, zoning out, setting my positive intentions. We got astrological today. What is coming back today? Yeah, I always know when it's freaking something's big going, because I get all this stuff at the same time. So I get stuff from Indian astrology. We are looking out for we are all looking out for a turning point. The time and path will bring our life's trajectory back to the pre-COVID phase. Our team has carried out. Thankfully, planets seem better aligned during. It all depends on who you ask. I don't know. People start living locally in community, then the world on an outwardly scale will simmer down too. So I think that is about all I got for now. Godspeed to the president. I hope that he gets well soon. as if he's, I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. He'll be alright. I guess he doesn't get sick. He's like me. He's one of, like me, people, we don't get sick. You know. Alright, that's about all I got for now. Hope you have a rad day. Peace.